Hello everybody and welcome back to the Reconnection channel. This is the place that we come to reconnect with ourselves, to reconnect with our relationships, to the world around us. And my interview today is with the lovely Samantha Cameron. And Sam has kindly joined us, as all our guests do, to share that moment in her life, that reconnection moment. So welcome to the episode.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. We were just saying it's turned proper chilly, hasn't it?
It's freezing. I've got scarf on, cardigan on and heater on. So yeah,
my goodness.
Very, very cold.
It was that morning this morning where I've really been enjoying the walk to school since my little boy started. And this morning I thought, it's going to be cold out there. That's going to be a cold one. So thank you so much for joining. Sam, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
So who am I? So everyone calls me Sam, even though I kind of have Samantha everywhere. I think it just stops people from having a bit of a shock when they actually meet me, because most people communicate through emails or text messages. So if they see Samantha, they know that what's happened? I think we lost connection then. Yeah, we're back. So I think, so I'm Sam. I'm a mum of 5. I'm married to my husband, Richard, and I have my own social media management business, which keeps me on my toes. Social media, I just absolutely love. And I think it's a great way for people to use it to build their business, because it's a free tool. It's a great tool. But I show people how they can use social media in a simple way and effective way.
I just want to recap a moment. A mum of 5. So
that's right.
Somebody who is a mum stroke stepmum of 5, but we don't very often now have all 5 in the house at the same time. Respect to you, because they are all there with you all the time, aren't they?
The oldest one has now gone to uni. So that's she's doing a biochemistry degree, so she's now kind of gone. Our eldest boy is he's kind of fledged as well, so he's now got a full-time job. So we're left with kind of the 3 youngest. So but I think it's, even though they're not at home, I actually think there's more pressure on you when they're not here, because you're constantly getting calls and can I have this? I need money for that. What about this? So even when they're not under your roof, I always remember someone saying to me, even when they've left home and they're married and they've got their own families, they are still your still your responsibility. So yes.
And let me just tell you, they go to uni and they tell you they come back. And oh my goodness, they've come back.
I'm waiting on that. So I did mention to hubby about downsizing, because we have a 7-bedroom house, and I mentioned about downsizing.
That's what we should have done.
So they can't come back. But one of them did threaten to kind of say, "It's okay, I'll just sleep in the caravan on the drive. It's not a problem." We do, because I have my own touring caravan. We're not, I don't have my own kind of site or anything like that. So so they kind of make their threats, but no, it's and I think when you're married, and you'll agree, Ali, when you've got a husband or a partner, that makes 6 children in total, really. So
there's always somebody. There's always somebody there that you're looking out for. So respect to you for that.
Thank you.
Wonderful social media tool, which we'll talk about a little bit at the end, and let people know how they can get in touch with you, because I've heard fabulous things about it. But your reconnection moment, thank you so much for agreeing to share. Because I really do appreciate when people share these moments. They are tending to be more from their personal life, or their moments that have really kind of hit them or impacted them, or just been something that's really kind of obviously there that you remember, and a big part of your life. So what is it you'd like to share with us?
So for me, I've always been quite a positive person. I can turn, the most negative thing or something that's happened to me into a positive, because I do feel that your positive energy kind of helps you get through life, because you get one shot at this, so there's no point of, it's not a dress rehearsal. We don't get to relive our day again, so it's about making the most of it. And for me, all through my life, like as a child, I didn't have the most amazing childhood, didn't have the most amazing upbringing. I actually went to live with my father, and my stepmom went at the age of 12 due to a really bad childhood. But I didn't let that stop me. I've always been someone that's always wanted to be ambitious and succeed. You know, at the age of 18, I had my own mortgage, my own house, because I literally just wanted to be independent.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of driven myself to my goals and my dreams. And then I'm 42 this year. So the year leading up to my 40th was, I wanted it to be amazing. Every month I had something planned. We had a big, amazing trip to Miami. Hubby threw an amazing 40th birthday party for me. It was the year that I wanted it to be. But unfortunately, 3 weeks before my 40th birthday, I had a car accident. And from that car accident, I sustained not visible injuries, but injuries that I still have today, 2 years down the line. And I also was diagnosed with PTSD. Wow. So that was a real massive thing for me, because all of a sudden someone was telling me that I had something that I had no control over. And I was a bit of a control freak. Now, the PTSD actually didn't stem from the car accident. It actually stemmed from 5 years earlier, when we had our youngest daughter, because unfortunately Molly was born premature. She had complications when she was born. We were told she wouldn't survive. If she did survive, she wouldn't be anything like her peers. She would possibly be brain damaged, wheelchair bound. So it was kind of like, oh, hold on a minute, we've got 4 healthy children. That, I mean, none of our children even had eczema or allergies. That's how, you know, fit they are. I don't even think I've been to A&E with any of them. It's, you know, that's the kind of children they are. So to be told that one of them could be a massive life changer was incredible. Molly pulled through. She has defined all odds. Even her consultant, when she was 9 months old, couldn't believe that when she was walking across his consultant room. So, but for me, that was the start of the PTSD, which later came out when I was having the treatment done. Then we had... so that was January last year, so 2017. And that really started to kind of cause issues with my mindset, because it does. It's just one of those things. And I think until it's something you've suffered with, you don't realise how bad it actually can be. But my positivity and me working with specialists helped me kind of work with that and overcome it. And then I was diagnosed in the October, a year ago now, with Lyme disease. Right. So that was a massive change in my life, because I went from being go-lucky, mum of 5, active, enjoying date nights out with the girls, you know, cocktails here and there, to actually having to change my life dramatically, to the point where, if nobody understands what Lyme disease is, basically I was bitten by a tick in June 2017. It was untreated. I was told that we don't have ticks in the UK. Lyme disease wasn't in this country. And then at the end of October, I thought I was having a stroke. The hospital thought I was having a stroke. I got admitted into hospital. Thankfully, through tests and scans, it wasn't a stroke, and it was when a consultant from the rare disease department at the hospital, he said, you actually have all the symptoms of Lyme disease. I said, well, I was bitten by a tick. I know it was a tick because I removed it. I knew how to remove it because I'd seen videos and things like that on Facebook. And he said, because it had gone untreated, unfortunately the parasites had basically grown, and I was then diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease, which basically means I'll have it for the rest of my life, even though I was given a course of 4 months of antibiotics. Which then
just to sort of say at that point, we're hearing a lot about Lyme disease, and actually you're the third person that I've got personal contact with that has been diagnosed with Lyme disease. But but there is still a lot of denial and therefore a lot of unsurety, isn't there, about symptoms? And yet we've also had celebrities, well-known people who've now had to have treatment, for Lyme disease, really serious health conditions. And I'm just amazed still at the lack of, I don't know the ins and outs of it, and I don't know why there is this, view that it doesn't exist here. But, at some point, someone's got to sort of wake up and say, I think it does, because as I say, you're not the only person I know now that has been diagnosed with this.
Yeah, and it's because of the symptoms, it can get misled for other illnesses as well, such as ME, MS, and fibromyalgia. And it's actually quite scary, because when I was doing my research into it, only 3% of NHS doctors are actually trained in Lyme disease, and that isn't them physically going to medical school and learning about it. That is them doing a 30-minute training program online.
Yeah,
in between seeing patients, and that's the scary thing. And unfortunately, the UK NHS just doesn't have the funds to do the research, and everything that comes into the UK research-wise is from America or it's from private organisations. So unfortunately, at the time, I just couldn't afford the treatments. The treatment's quite expensive. You have to go to Germany. You have to go abroad to or Ireland. And it's just been something that I've self-managed. So I've changed my diet. I've changed my lifestyle. I actually take cannabis oil on a daily basis. And I also have Botox injections, which some people in the Lyme disease society will actually frown upon, because putting Botox into your system, they see it as another chemical. But at the end of the day, you have to do what works for you. And as a busy mum, as someone who runs her own business, the symptoms are basically, some days I just couldn't get out of bed because the pain was so bad. So I've had to take the drastic measures and the actions that I needed to take in order to actually function on a daily basis. So my changing moment for me was last year when I was diagnosed. It was kind of like, okay, things are going to have to change. It just didn't affect me. It affected the family as well. It's, they couldn't understand, why they'd come home from school and mum was in bed, or the fact that I'd have to get the older children to help cook dinner.
Yeah.
So, and my husband, Rich has been absolutely amazing over the last year. He's been supportive. We came back off holiday on Saturday and I was having a bad day, and literally we came back and I couldn't unpack. I literally had to go to bed and sleep for about 3 hours just to regenerate. And I woke up and he had done everything. He'd unpacked, he'd sorted the washing out, he'd sorted the children out, and not once did he moan at me for the fact that I'd just walked in, gone straight upstairs and fallen asleep on the bed. He didn't say a word. And that is sometimes just the support that you need. It's not necessarily a cuddle or can I get you a cup of tea? It's just the fact that you actually don't say anything. You just let somebody get on with what they need to do. So the support is incredible. But my family have had to adjust to that, because there were times where he would kind of be like, I remember when the year that I got Lyme disease, yes, it was only a year ago, but we had to cancel our wedding anniversary. He'd made special plans for my birthday, Christmas Day, things like that. Everything last year just kind of was wiped out because I physically just couldn't do anything. So that was hard for him to adjust, and he has. And it was then while I was in bed. So I was bedridden for about 10 weeks.
Right.
While I was having treatment done, antibiotics, because antibiotics, I don't know if anyone is aware, they stay in your system for a year. And I was on, if you go to the doctors and you get prescribed antibiotics for a virus or bacterial infection, I was basically given 4 months worth of antibiotics, and I was taking the triple dose of what you would normally take in one day. Right. And you would normally take antibiotics for a maximum of 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks. I had to take 4 months. Right. And they weren't prescribed to me by the NHS. I had to buy them privately. So that completely wiped out. I have no immune system. And it just, there are many chemicals in antibiotics. So it's taken a good year to kind of get those out of my system as well. So while I was in bed having my treatment, I had a bit of a light bulb moment. And that's when things kind of changed for me. I knew that I had to find something that would work around my illness. I didn't know how I was going to be moving forward. Was I going to be bedridden most days? Was I going to be able to function properly? I didn't know. So I had to start putting things in place to actually kind of give me a lifestyle that I wanted to have moving forward, but also financially secure for the family as well, because that's what they'd been used to. So for 2 years prior to being ill, I'd been a social media consultant for large company, both here in the UK and globally. And that's when I brought to market my social media scheduling tool. And then through that, people were like, we really like this. This is great. It's going to save us lots of time. But the problem is I know how to use this tool, but I actually don't know how to use social media. And unfortunately, unless you know how to do both, they don't really work. It's it's a bit like having a bit of bread and some butter. If you haven't got the knife, you're not going to be able to make yourself a sandwich. People started then saying to me, is there any way that you can show me how to use social media? Do you do training? And it was like, I do, but I only do freelance for this company or as a consultant. I didn't have the business at the time. And Rich said to me, look, people need this, Sam. Yeah. People need to go out and help them. Why don't you look at doing it? So that's where To Motivate More was born, which is very in sync with yourself and your branding name as well. And and that's kind of where it came to life. So on the 1st of December last year, while I was in bed, logo was designed, ideas about website, and then literally how the workshops were going to run out and how I was going to basically help businesses use social media to grow their businesses, but in a simple way. So, none of this jargon, keeping it simple, but keeping it fun.
And I think so two things. I mean, the amount of people that I interview on here that are business owners, and actually it has been a moment in their life, where they haven't woken up one day and just decided to be an entrepreneur. There's been something that has led them to have to make that change.
Yeah.
And the flexibility or the need to be creative or the fact that they've had to make real lifestyle changes has been the driver to say, I need to do this for myself. It isn't going to work for me now, working in a large corporation. But the other thing to bear in mind for people listening, as somebody myself, I'm only just coming up to my proper second full year in business, that you've only really been in business since that December is amazing. Knowing how well known you are sort of on the local networking scene, and how much traction that you've made. So it's just a real sign that regardless of what has happened, if you want something to happen, and you've got that positive mindset and you understand that this has got to happen, there's a real need for this to be. Life can't, this is a new norm. Life can't be as it was before. Then, magical things can happen, can't they?
Massively. And at the same time, it's knowing what your limitations are as well. And I know my body, I'm really good at listening to my body now, and I'm quite stubborn. I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm stubborn. I'm kind of go, if I want something, I go out and get it. And I've had to learn over the last year to actually change and adapt my life. And if my body is turning around and saying to me, well, Sam, you need to stop, then I do. And I'm able to then kind of fit my business in around that. And I plan my diary around my health. So like, for example, I know I'm running a workshop on Friday. Now, as much as I love doing the workshops, they drain me and they take a lot out of me. So my diary for Saturday is pretty much clear, so that I know that I can recharge my batteries ready for the next time. And that's something that you have to do, because we spend, I spent many years working for a large corporation, and I loved it and I gave it my all. But for me, it's kind of like I was working 40 hours. Well, actually, it was more than 40 hours a week for somebody else. and never really got the gratitude that I felt that I needed. And I might work more hours now, with my own business, but they're the hours that I choose to work. They're flexible around the children. They're flexible around my health issues, but I'm working those hours for me. So, and that's what I love.
Tell everybody how they can get in touch with you.
So they can get in touch with me through social media. I'm on all platforms, so just look for me through Samantha Cameron, or you can go to my website, which is tomotivatemore.co.uk, and that's the number 2, MOTIV, the number 8, more.co.uk. But finding me through social media is mostly the easiest way. If you go to my Facebook, all of my links to my scheduler, all my other social media, my Facebook group where I offer free tips on social media, my website, everything is there. Because that's the whole point of social media, is having all the information there for other people to find you.
And so my last question, as always, before we close down the episode, is for you, reconnection means what, Sam?
Reconnection for me means being the best person you possibly can be without actually pushing yourself to the point where you can't be that person anymore, because that's really important. You have to be true to yourself and honest to yourself. And if you burn yourself into the ground, you're not just doing yourself no favors, you're affecting other people as well. And those people that are around you are those ones that love you and want to support you. So you have to listen to what your body's telling you, and don't think about what other people are going to think about you, or if you're not doing something, they're going to think anything less of you. They're not. Everybody that knows me pretty much knows of my illness, and that has never stopped any client coming to me to work with them, and it has never put any stops on my business.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that.
That's okay.
Thank you, Sam, for sharing your story.
No, thank you.
As always, if you have enjoyed Sam's episode of the Reconnection channel, then click like, but also click that all-important subscribe, because as Sam knows, it is the subscribe on YouTube, which means that you will never miss an episode of the Reconnection channel, and we will not use your data for anything else or email or spam you when we don't need to. But we don't want you to miss out, and we'd love to see who's viewing the channel. And if you have a story that you think we would love to hear, then why not drop us a note, because we are recording new episodes on a weekly basis here at the Reconnection channel, real life stories of where people have had that reconnection moment. So once again, thank you to Sam for sharing your story, and we'll see you again next week on the Reconnection channel. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.